being feminine means you enjoy owning a female body. And to the degree that you can enjoy your female body and all that that means, to that degree you will be feminine. And the same is true for men. Being a male means you own a male body. But being masculine means you enjoy owning a male body. However that shows up in your life. Because there's all kinds of shapes and sizes of men and women.
Welcome to our back porch. We are two authors and artists happily married for over 20 years, parenting two boys and sharing glimpses of our lives with you. Lean in and listen to our unedited conversations as we share on art, parenting, politics, culture, and how our Christian faith colors it all. I'm Dale Fincher, with my wife here, Jonalyn Fincher, and this is our back porch conversation. Today's conversation, I would like to hear about your special speech that you gave last night. Jonalyn she was invited by a group of women in Canada to speak at a special event for them. And how they got to know you was through a video series that you did many years ago, back when you were pregnant with Finn and we were living in the little cabin in White Woods. Tell us about that.
Well, the video series is called 12 Women of the Bible, and you can still get it, order it, and I've been contacted over the last 10 years many times by leaders who have run that series through their women's Bible study.
That's wild how much, what's the word? Endurance? No, capital. How much traction?
Mileage.
How much mileage that video series has gotten. You have been contacted about that for... every time it's like somebody contacts you out of the blue, it's like, oh, we're doing this series.
I know.
Wow.
It's surprising to me because of all the things I did in those years, that was not a standout experience to me.
No.
It wasn't necessarily like a really deep or difficult thing.
You've done so much good work in so many areas, and it is amazing the things that kind of hang on. I want it to be a gateway. I mean, the reason I know what it's like when we're speaking and writing and publishing and all of that, you say yes to these kinds of invitations of, hey, can you be one of the speakers on this project? And you do it so that it will create a little bit of marketing and momentum. Of course, you want to help the people that are listening to it, but you hope that they dig a little deeper and say, what else has she done? I liked this. I want to grab her book. I want to see what her nonprofit work is all about. And it's just interesting that it's the little project going out. It's almost like the marketing message is going out, but there's no place to follow up with it at this point. This, at least as far as Salation went. Now it is with your artwork, of course.
Well, it's interesting too because this was originally created as a two series. One was the Old Testament women and one was the New Testament women. And somebody got a hold of this, I think because they invested so much at the publishing house, and they rebranded it as just 12 Women of the Bible. And when it was remarketed, that's when I saw a surge in people read or just discovering it for the first time. So the woman who invited me was very flattering and encouraging. She said of all the women they heard on the video series, I was the author they were most interested in hearing from, the one they connected with the most.
What a compliment.
And I guess she reached out to me a month ago, and I'm not on social media very much these days, and so I got it a month later. And she had already tried, since she didn't hear from me, to reach out to another speaker in that series who said that she makes, I don't know, between $10,000 and $30,000 a speaking engagement. And this woman was like, we're just a small rural parish. We don't have that kind of money. I said, I can bring 75 women to the group, and they're in range of ages and range of professions, but we can't handle that price. So I'm just curious what your honorarium fee would be. So mine is not that, but we worked it out, and I spoke last night through a video call, and it was really interesting to be speaking again for professional in a professional way, because it's been a while since I've been asked to professionally speak, and you wonder, can you still do it? And are you still relevant? And are you going to share things that are going to connect?
Right. Do you still have the flow?
Yeah.
I know what it's like, yeah. Well, I mean, did it go well? Were you pleased?
Well, when I finished, I was really not sure how it went. It's very difficult to read across a video.
And you had technical difficulties where the audio went out,
Yeah.
and so you couldn't even hear their feedback, almost like you're talking to a camera.
I was talking to a
doing
bunch of
recording.
faces, and I could see when they moved their heads, but I couldn't tell if they were laughing or frowning. It was too far away. And I saw once they started clapping, so I'm like, they must have liked something I just said.
But it's silent clapping. Sure. It's so funny. It's like being in a soundproof room looking out onto the world.
Twilight Zone. I know something's happening over there. I kept asking, "Can you guys hear me?" And they'd give me thumbs up. So it was a really. I feel honored that you would ask me to reflect on this talk, because I gave this talk at the beginning of my motherhood stage, and I feel the beginnings of the end of my motherhood stage now, because our boys are beginning to launch into much more busy social lives, seeing where they want to be in the world, what they want to do. I can begin to see the trajectory of the roads they've taken to get to the point they're at now, and I can see my role becoming smaller in their lives as their friends and their mentors play a larger role. Mm-hmm. And it's really a gentle, tender gift of God to give me a chance to speak about my book and my clear mission that I have now. It's wonderful to have a life mission that I can look back and trace its effects on everything I did in the past. So
special.
I don't...
It's like, how was the legacy built? You set out with vision, and vision becomes legacy. One is you're looking forward, and the other is you're looking back.
What a nice way to say it.
And how do you feel? Did you do? And of course, the vision is still going, and the legacy is still being written.
Yeah, it is. It's a mystery of where it's going to go next, and I don't anticipate having a lot more speaking engagements like this, but there have been... It's fulfilling to realize that the vision I have now is what God has given me from a very young age. Mm-hmm. And I feel I didn't expect to be able to articulate it this clearly, but because of the work I've done with my art, I can. And
what are some points, like highlight points, that you felt like, with what you're saying, that is consistent when you're looking back to say, okay, I have accomplished this, or some things that changed? Maybe some of your views have changed from when you're saying you're revisiting a talk that you gave many years ago.
No, this talk was... Am
I understanding what you're saying right now?
That's a great question, but the talk was brand new for this group of women. However, I was able to... Because one of the questions was, what have you learned now since speaking for this video series? How have you changed? Kind of like what you shared there.
Sure, okay.
And what I did is I took my mission, my life mission statement, that what I see myself being put on earth to do, and I read it back into the stories of Rebecca and Mary Magdalene, who are the two women I featured, and showed them how the things that they connected with on those women are the things that they connected with me. Mm-hmm. And then I shared how Jesus has brought me through the different seasons of my life to the place I am today, and shared some of the practices that I use to keep close to Jesus. So the title of the talk was Jesus is a Friend for All Seasons, or a Friend for All Seasons. And I just briefly touched on the two biblical characters because I wanted to show them how I've changed and grown since those days.
Yes. Share us. How have you grown? What has changed for you?
Well, for me, I think I feel a lot more honor in being a mother than I did at the beginning when Finn, literally his birth and a decision to stay home with him, pull him out of preschool, be with him full time.
Did not feel like an honor.
Daycare. It was really more like our nanny. We pulled out of our nanny care, and yes, it didn't feel like an honor. I mean, I knew intellectually it was an honor, but it felt like a huge setback with our careers. I mean, it was a setback. Let's be honest. It really did.
Yeah.
We both shot ourselves in the feet to have a successful career in speaking and writing, because all of the energy we would have spent speaking and writing went into raising Finn and then Ollie.
Right. And then dragging Finn along with so many things. 36 airplanes in his first year. No, I agree with you. But you don't know at the time when you're having to shift something that you've dedicated so much years and all of your energy to, and you spend 10, 12, 14 hours every day thinking about and touching the lives of other people, to suddenly say, I got to pull back from that. You're like, but the momentum and everything that I've been doing here, it's like, pushing a car down the road and somebody says, oh, stop pushing that. You're like, but if I stop pushing it, then the next hill's going to be harder, or we may never even get started up again.
It literally felt like we were at the crest of a hill. We had been running up, and we were about to push it over the hump, and we walked away from the car, and it went backwards. That's how it felt.
Yeah. And because the outlook that we had at the time, of course, you can't see the future, and the outlook of what happens over the last 15 years, and how we've matured and see and have different, our values have our values are different levers on a big soundboard. It's like different values actually gone down, other values have gone up. Mm-hmm. I know they have for me.
It's also very sobering that we may never have had children if I hadn't had that miscarriage experience.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty set against having children, realizing I was married to a guy that wanted to stay on mission. And
yeah, that was a hard decision for me.
And
if it wasn't for...
Yeah, it was
You're
hard.
right. If it wasn't for the miscarriage and also the subsequent many, many, many conversations and heart-wrenching conversations about children, what children mean, what we're giving up by having children, what we're gaining by having children, that was really hard. And I had to bring my own stuff to the table, my own immaturities, my own setbacks, my own fears, all of that. So having kids was a very, very difficult choice for me.
And you saw the effect it would have better than I did. I'm not very good at projecting how a decision will change us, but you were, and you knew what you were saying yes to.
I knew it would be devastating to the mission, my vision that I had been building since I was 17. But looking back on it now, I'm so glad that it interrupted that.
Why are you glad?
A couple things. One is I'm so thankful to have these children in my life, and believe that that is an integral part of the flourishing life if you get married. And it helps, everything makes sense with the way God designed things to be. And when God makes a design, it means he makes it with a purpose. And so the purpose of the systems he's given us in reproduction, the relations and the love he gives us in relationship, that intimacy is about children. And seeing that come together has been, I feel like I've entered into the experience of what, not just what human beings are designed to be, but what I'm designed to be and to do. Doesn't mean that people who remain unmarried are falling short. I think that, however, if you are married, there is a purpose to that marriage, and it is for the sake of family.
And that's been a huge shift in your beliefs.
Huge. I thought you could be a childless couple intentionally, and that would be good. And I don't advise that. I think that if you want to be childless, then you should not get married. That's my view now. And I think that you fulfill your purpose with God, being unmarried and being childless. Being unmarried and having children is violating your purpose. And being married and not having children is violating your purpose, unless God and nature have decided for you you're not having children. And that's a different story. But the deliberate choosing of not having children as a married couple, I think is something is hindering there, and it's not good. And I don't want to just sound super abstract about the ethics of things. But that was a big thing. And then the other thing was just realizing that ministry isn't all it's cracked up to be. Being a leader, having a voice, doing all that for the fickle public it's simply not what it looks like. It's not that great. It's kind of like when you're on the outside of it, it kind of looks like watching a bunch of wonderful sailing videos. And then when you're on the inside of it, you realize, oh, okay, you're trying to accomplish something. And what you're trying to accomplish is changing lives. And what you end up finding you're accomplishing is writing books. Like, I only got into the books to change the lives. Are lives being changed? And if lives are being changed, then you're like, well, I want to change lives, but now I have to raise money because the books don't pull in enough money, and the fundraising doesn't pull enough money. It's such a funky conflict for me, and realizing that it's just not all it's cracked up to be. It just simply is not. And I'm glad for that reorientation. I'm grateful to God that he said in the middle of it, let me interrupt this. Because when all of this, and you realize that all of this is not a sham, but it's not as important as you think it is.
That's a great way to say it.
It's like, thank you, God, for your mercy.
I know that in seeing our life now with 2 boys, I have a much better idea of the importance of our giftings in creating culture. We were trying to do that with the Solation gatherings, and we were trying to create a different kind of culture in our online community church experience. But the most enticing, provocative, interesting example we can give of creating culture has been in our own family. One of the women asked last night, what did you experience in terms of what your children learned traveling in so many different countries on the boat? How did that change you? Was it a challenge to you in your faith? And I thought, one of the things that I really learned from being in all these different cultures was that our family has a fantastic, intentional culture. Better than most people I met on boats, better than most cultures we visited. And that's not because I think we're superior human beings. I think it's because we follow God really intentionally, and we want to make sure we are listening and loving and engaged with each other, whether we're on a boat or on land. And that solation culture is what we practice in our homes. And it's a wonderful, transformative experience. It's a very rich soup of culture to create out of. It's a family environment where we sit down and we eat meals together, if not every single meal, at least one meal a day. And it's an environment of critique and growth and honesty and confession. And it's not because we're doing it in a monkish way where now we're going to sing these songs and now we're going to recite these verses and now we're going to all do public confession. It's very organic. It's just like I hurt my son's feelings, and so the next morning I apologize and tell him why, and then we continue doing what we're doing. I mean, our boys are playing Super Mario downstairs right now. It's not like we're this pious family. It's just
I do agree with you.
The culture we created here is very different.
I would say it feels stable, because everywhere we went, no matter any culture that we were engaging with, there was not an instability of why are we doing it the way we do? Why are they doing it the way they do? There's a way. And I believe the truth is this way always, is that you can hold all these different people in different places because the truth is a big enough basket to hold. This is a person made in God's image. This is a person, seeking their daily bread. This is a person I'm going to expect to do fair dealing with me. And I'm not going to step down on another culture's level and become a dishonest person or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So there's something there so that they're sensitive to it. They're like, something's not right here. Be like, yeah, it's not right. Not because our culture is different from theirs, which is like the postmodern way of saying, well, they have their culture, we have ours, who are we to judge? But to say, we can judge it, it's not right because they're not telling the truth, and some of these people just simply aren't healthy. Oh, look, it turns out it's a superstitious culture. Look at the gods that they worship, or whatever it is.
Yeah, we're finding that too as we come back to land, as our boys are very sensitive to the different cultures and the families that we're meeting and the groups, communities, clubs, churches we are attending. They can see the dysfunction. They're very good at sniffing it out.
It's fantastic. I mean, it's hard because as they mature, they have to learn to adapt to some of that, as we do. Because you have to love your neighbor, even if your neighbor's like...
Yeah, I wouldn't say adapt. I would use the verb. They have to learn how to be in the world system, but not be
You're right. I didn't
squeezed
mean
into that mold.
You're right. I didn't mean to adapt in that way.
Yeah, you did. I'm just kidding. I know that's not what you meant. I know that's not what you meant.
But when they're younger, they don't know how to do that. It's kind of like my metaphor is simply, there are certain movies that the content in it is totally age appropriate, but the themes in it are too complex. And I think that some situations we find ourselves in, we're like, you know what? It's okay for my boys to be here, but the themes are too complex for them to process it and know how to sift through the parts that are good and the parts that are not, and the conflicts that are involved. So it's better just not to expose them too much.
Yeah, that's true. And, you know, having spent the last 15 years, having a posture towards culture of protecting my boys so they have an age-appropriate development, so they can come of age without somebody hijacking that process, like what happened to me.
Because that will keep them stuck in some ways emotionally in the younger years until they process that.
That's right. So my mission is to help people see their vulnerability and how it's connected to their joy.
Yeah.
So as a mother, I'm using that mission in the way I mother my boys, and I'm protecting their vulnerabilities.
I love it.
So they can access the joy God has for them. And as I transition into that, when I did this first study and now transitioning out of that, it's pretty incredible to me that my mission is still to share how can you access the vulnerable places in your life, bring them to God, let Him heal you, and then show that joy, that delight in being who you are, whether it's a man or a woman. Mm-hmm. That was something I came away with from this talk. The leader said that women were just so delighted to see another woman who enjoys being a woman.
Wow. Wow. It's so surprising that has become unusual.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought that wasn't the point of the message, but I completely get why they saw that in me, because I've spent a really long time owning being feminine and being created female and trying to accept the gifts God's given me rather than ignore them or buck them.
No, you're right. And I see a lot when you mentioned it was a parish, so it tells me it's more of a liturgical type of church. But at the same time, I think about how inundated everyone has become with the political and cultural messaging of we need to make allowances and make room for a wide variety of people labeling themselves as women and feminine. And of course, for the postmodern or the Marxist, you know, the quasi-communist kind of views, which is designed to flatten the genders, the sexes, so that the idea of being a woman starts to lose its meaning. What I see, the big detriment to people of faith who actually want to follow the truth of God, is that they end up spending so much time focusing on all of the offenses that they are making to these other women, having to battle a lot of the feminist, Marxist philosophies that they're getting bombarded with, and it sneaks in. It's just subtly underlaying most articles that you see in newspapers and, you know, online today. And while they're being distracted and trying to think through it and how are we supposed to be sensitive to these people and how are we supposed to win these people, they are not building up a robust foundation of the way God sees women. And that's the part that gets lost. Again, that is the trick of the devil, our enemy. He wants us to flatten the sexes, but at the same time, he wants us to be distracted in such a way that we're not building on our knowledge of God. Mm. And then once we don't have the knowledge of God, everything starts to go awry. Mm-hmm. But you were mentioning at the beginning, before we turned on the audio, about some perspectives or distinctions between being a man and masculine, between a woman and feminine, mm-hmm. that has changed over time. And you feel like that, or if not changed over time, you feel like you have some clear categories mm-hmm. on how to talk about that. I want to hear about that because I haven't heard this yet, and I'm excited to interact with it.
Okay, so I actually just came up with this when I was writing my newsletter for people who follow my art and my thoughts on my website.
Has that newsletter gone out yet? I haven't seen it.
No, I just wrote the rough draft today.
Okay, so if you guys want to hear this newsletter, you have to go to jonalynfincher.com and go down to that little subscribe to my newsletter box.
It has a newsletter button at the top.
At the top. It's at the top. jonalynfincher.com. There you go.
Thank you. So I'm very grateful for the transgender movement, not to those people, but to God using that in my life to help me codify this. Because when I wrote Ruby Slippers, it was a whole book on what it means to be feminine to the core of your soul. And I had some footnotes and some thoughts about what at that time was called being intersexed. And now it's morphed into many terms, but transgender is one of them. And realizing now it's not just about being born with ambiguous, like, hormones or genitalia. Now it's about, like, I feel like I am in the wrong body. So all of that discussion helped me realize that a very simple way to say the difference between being female and being feminine is a female owns a female body with all that means. Hormones, the reproductive system, all that. But being feminine, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Being feminine means you enjoy owning a female body. And to the degree that you can enjoy your female body and all that means, to that degree you will be feminine. And the same is true for men. Being a male means you own a male body. But being masculine means you enjoy owning a male body. However that shows up in your life. Because there's all kinds of shapes and sizes of men and women. But you know a woman who is owning and enjoying what she owns by how she chooses to hold her body, even as she sits, as she walks, as she does her hair. There's a wonderful scene in the movie Moonlight. It's the one with Cher and Nicolas Cage, who has like one hand cut off. It's a romance. It's a rom-com. Moonstruck.
Rom-com.
It's Moonstruck.
I've never heard that.
Oh, you
phrase.
haven't? Sorry. That's what I've learned from listening to movie reviews.
You're so Gen Z now.
No, that's what they're called.
Rom-com.
Romantic comedy.
Oh, you're so posh.
I'm not trying to be
Pish
posh.
posh.
That's what they call them. And when
I
Barry
get
and
it now.
Julia, which I should do a shout out to their awesome podcast. It's called So I Married a Film Critic. It's
They are
wonderful.
Very good.
They call them rom-coms all the time.
Of course they do.
Well,
Film
I'm glad
critics,
you
they're
laughed
awesome.
about that because I got the name wrong. It's Moonstruck. It's
I remember
starring
Moonstruck.
Cher. Remember we watched that?
That's actually a lovely
It's
film.
a great movie.
Yeah.
So in that movie, she decides to join Nicolas Cage's character, even though she's engaged to another guy.
Is this when he steals the Declaration of Independence? Oh wait, that's a different movie. Sorry.
That's not the right. There's no Cher in that movie.
Sorry, Nicolas Cage. I mean, he just. No matter what I see him in now, I think he's gonna steal an American document with some fancy glasses.
No, in
Okay, go
this
ahead.
movie,
Yes,
he doesn't
rom-com.
have a
Let's get serious,
hand.
you guys. Let's get serious.
It's not serious, but it's this beautiful scene where he invites Cher to the opera. And she decides to get her hair done.
She looks dazzling.
She has her hair like huge and gorgeous. It's like this mantle, this glory. And she has this beautiful dress. And she meets him. And he looks at her and then he's like, okay, well, thank you. And she's like, for what? He's like, for coming, for your beautiful hair and your dress. And you can just tell he works in like this really dusty bakery shop. And he has one of his hands has been chopped off. And he just has a really sad, miserable life. And in this moment, he realizes that Cher is bringing honor to his life. She's elevating his entire life just by her hair, her dress, and her presence. And she's owning what she's been given. And she's enjoying her beauty in a way that is contagious. And that's been called all kinds of things. It's been called sexiness. It's been called good energy.
Oh wait, it's called confidence.
It's been called confidence.
Remember this Victoria's Secret thing? They said, what is the secret to sexiness? It's the confidence. But there's more to it.
It's more than confidence. To me, it is enjoying the blessings you see that God has given you.
It's nothing to do with being sexy. You're a sexual creature, yes.
Yeah.
But you're owning who you are.
That's it.
And delighting in it.
That's it. And that is one of the things I have struggled to do, continue to struggle towards.
Oh, we all do.
And
You're touching on the nerve of all of humanity right there.
That's what I do. That's what I do in my spiritual mentoring. And when I was speaking to these ladies, I was trying to show them this is how I've struggled to own my life, my gifts. And it is a lifelong pursuit.
100%.
I talked to them about how I've chosen to step away from public ministry. Because one of the questions was, how do you keep such a busy schedule traveling and speaking and raising your voice and painting? And I thought, I have a really easy way to answer that. I don't do all those things. I'm not on social media.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
I'm not
you can't
on
do
all
all
these
of it
things
well.
people say you have to be on to be successful, because I know my calling is to paint, to raise my voice, to wife you, and to enjoy my life. That's it. It's very small and really wonderful, and it is so satisfying.
That's good.
Well, Jesus has powered it. It's really been amazing. Getting on that boat, Lady Grey, and getting off of it has given me so much more satisfaction in life here on land.
It's very good. Oh, I feel far more satisfied than when I did ministry work.
I bet. After that really cool meeting you had this week, so many things have happened since we've moved back to land. So many
things.
wonderful things.
And I don't feel like I'm having to force anything.
Yeah.
I just am looking for opportunities
crazy.
and stepping into them.
That's what I did. Oh, sorry, you wanted.
Well, something you said is a very important distinction here. This idea that your sex is the body you've been given, male or female, and then your masculinity or femininity is learning and having joy in who you are.
Enjoying
being
that
masculine,
body.
male, enjoying being female.
Yeah.
And this is slightly abstract, but it strikes to the core of one of the huge issues that we have today in culture and society. And it goes back to Thomas Aquinas and all of those who branched away and actually rejected Thomas Aquinas. Most of the crap that we deal with today is a rejection of Thomas Aquinas, who is in the stream of Jesus in the Bible. Because Thomas Aquinas, in a very roundabout way, C.S. Lewis talks about an abolition of man. He says the ancient man asks himself the question, how do I conform myself to reality? And I need to do it through discipline and virtue. But modern man reverses the question. And this is the inversion, and this is the problem. This is the breaking away of Thomas Aquinas and breaking away from Jesus, is he has asked himself, how do I make reality fit my passions? Not me conform to it, how do I make reality conform to me? And the answer is technology. And that goes all the way back to guys like Francis Bacon. We're talking centuries and centuries and centuries ago, and we're living with the outworking of that today.
Yes.
Most of us living in some sort of fantasy, and as technology improves more and more, we're actually distancing ourselves from reality.
That's right.
I think the whole transgender thing is built on those philosophies. It's like, I can concoct my own reality.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
So much of our modern way of governance is to say, I concoct my own reality. I want a thing to be a certain way, I'm going to force it to be a certain way. I'm going to write a law to make it a certain way. But it violates all the rules of morality and reality, and it's going to lead to disaster and heartache and the death of 100 million people. So,
Yeah, a living death.
when you say that, one of Thomas Aquinas' big things is that you have the real thing, and our job, like we had the real thing called being. And being is you are being a human being, and you're a female human being. That's your sex. We are called by God to participate in being, participate in reality, which you so succinctly said in such a simple word: finding joy in who we are. God made us who we are. It's our choice to engage and find joy in who we are. We're participating literally with the very stream of the way the world is, as God made it to be. You're entering into the stream of your design. You're entering into the stream of your purpose, like the end goal, to grow up in who you are. Not through self-actualization, where you're creating more fantasies and manifestations of what you want, but you're setting aside some of the things you want to find out who you are, and then you discover your wants change. Because when you say you want love, but you seek love in all of these lovers, you say you want love and recognition and approval in all of these fake people and the giant audiences or whatever. But when you fall into line with the way God made things, you find out that to be loved by Him is greater than being loved by every person in the world. Now you're finding that stream, and the desires that we're hunting for in all these other places find their right target. That's why I love this definition. It's such a very simple way to say, I have joy in owning who I am.
Thank you.
and participating in being. And it's the most lovely thing in the world for a human being to do.
Well, I realize it's it speaks to why I feel the distortion so strongly. It gives me words to wrap around the distortion I feel when I see, like I saw last week, a guy at the barista counter at the coffee shop. He was a handsome guy wearing a flannel, but he had acrylic, long, pink, sparkly nails on his fingers. And it's such a jarring thing when a man dresses like a woman. It still is, even though there is a group of people trying to normalize it.
It ought to be.
Yeah, it's very jarring. It's a distortion. And I realized the reason, to me, it's embarrassing for them, but they're claiming it as a badge of courage. And the reason I think I can put the words around why it is embarrassing to them, to me it is similar to a man renting a really expensive sports car like a Ferrari and driving it around and finding out who are the people who are going to take him seriously now. Mm-hmm. But he's just maybe driving it. Maybe he just drove it as like off the showroom. He doesn't even own it. And once he only has friends based on him driving this borrowed Ferrari, he no longer has access to why people like him. Mm-hmm. He's actually cutting himself off from true friendships because he's using something he admires or intrigues him, or he's seen other people get attention from, and he's making a barrier around his heart and connecting with others. And I see pink fingernails on a man as a Ferrari that's been stolen or borrowed, driven by another man. Both are insecure. Both are afraid of owning their actual bodies or their actual gifts or inadequacies. And they are throwing up, to me, a huge wall saying, don't look at me, look at what I'm borrowing.
Look at the fantasy I've concocted.
Yeah. Well, I find it really offensive because I see it as someone saying, how dare you think you can figure me out? How dare you think I even want to be known? And it's in that way, it's a hellish thing to say, I want to be isolated.
100%. And somebody choosing the orcs rather than choosing the elves.
It's like being told by our culture, when Smeagol decides to be Gollum, it's your job to celebrate that.
100%. You get to participate in the delusion.
Yes, you have to pretend that this is Gollum's best self.
And only good people participate in the delusion. That's the message. So you have to negate being, don't participate in being. Instead, you create an image that is not of God, and you create a golden calf, and everybody must sit around and worship it because that's what good people do.
Yeah.
And we're going to call it God. We're going to call it God. Everybody, we're in agreement. We're calling it God.
We're calling it self-actualization.
It will never be anything but a golden statue.
And it will break their hearts. It's so...
It's a high form of arrogance and pride.
It is. But they're building their lives. These poor young people are building their lives on stolen goods.
Oh, 100%. The only reason they have the opportunity to talk like this is because reality has not punched them in the face yet. Meaning that we lived hard lives in which you have to work in the field every day, in which diseases are coming through, and droughts and plagues and barbarians and everything else. Those are sobering moments where you have to start owning your stuff. You do not have the luxury to play pretend.
Well, it does speak
That's
to
me. That's what I mean by it.
I agree.
Because of technology, it buffered, and which was created by a world that believed in being and believed in reality. That's why we're able to get to where we are with these. It's not just language of freedom, it was freedom.
That allowed these drugs and these surgeries to be invented and now abused and used to destroy.
That's exactly right. And AI and all of that is only making it worse.
It speaks to some of the things we learned on the boat, which is that men need a certain type of working together with their minds and bodies to bring them dignity. And I think in our modern world, there's not a lot of places men can do that unless they're super intentional. And so
they have to go to a gym to simulate working hard with their bodies.
Yeah, so it feels pretty meaningless, I think, to be masculine. And I can see, like, what kind of world have we created that barista finds more power in pink fingernails, which make it more difficult for him to do everything.
Rather than making and building something.
Rather than using his hands with the strength that he has, which is stronger than mine. Like, how much has he denied what he's been given? And what kind of people are finding that attractive so that he's getting, finally, the attention and notice he's been craving with this getup?
Yeah, it's a wreck. To be pitied. I mean, I'm vehemently have great hatred for the devil and the tricks and the lies and the blindness. But I have a lot of pity on the people who have succumbed to it. But I have less pity on those who have so fully embraced it that they want not just the tricks of evil, but actually have learned to embrace evil, take it inward, push it and promote it to, as you learned with Faust, to sell their souls to it.
Mephistopheles.
And that's something we have to...
What is the best answer? We all are being asked, what is the best answer? And last night I realized my best answer is to live in enjoying my femininity.
That has to be it. And every person has to do that. It doesn't distract
me to try to... I mean, I have been bothered by so many things that LGBTQ have been doing these last 10 years.
And as an expert in femininity, I understand why. Yeah.
And discouraged and depressed by it. And so it's very thrilling to me that in pulling away from the cultural battle and raising two boys, going back out and
relishing the good.
This address, yeah.
Relishing the good without the distraction. It is. It's super encouraging. I
shared my painting, Miss Lady Grey, with the ladies.
Yeah.
And
is that there on your desk?
That's this one, yeah. One with the girl in the dungeon at the bottom, and then reaching for the hair. And then I shared the painting that I did when we decided we weren't going to sail anymore. And had some really good questions. From the harbor in Puerto Rico. Yep. So it was a rewarding time. I felt like I can still speak when God asks me and gives me opportunity. And I shared a lot about my prayer walks and how I practice listening and praying while walking. And I shared about Sabbath. And it was a really, really rewarding hour together.
That sounds fantastic.
Thanks for asking about it.
You gave them some real examples of who you are and how you built a life with God in your personal life. And each one of them have to do it. They can't say, I need to vote for somebody that can make my life more enriched and help me participate in the truth of things.
No, I hope they feel invited to do that for themselves.
I hope so.
One of the big questions they had is, why are there so few young people in the church? What can we do to attract young families?
Some of that's shifting, but they were up in Canada. I don't know what their communities are like.
I don't either. And I said, well, you have to first stop equating a relationship with God with attending a church.
Amen. Good job.
And
I bet that was like, what?
And I said, and you need to be curious about their spiritual life. Ask them, what has been your spiritual journey? And then just listen. Don't assume that because they don't go to church, they don't have a spiritual journey. And then I said, and then the next thing is really important is you need to lead with vulnerability. Where are you right now feeling vulnerable? And if you have a place where you sense, I don't know what I'm going to do. How is God going to help me? Maybe my husband's getting sick and he's got dementia and I don't know what the next step is going to be. That is what you share with any young people you meet and say, this is where I'm looking forward to God meeting me. Because all of a sudden you've taken God out of the church building and into a very real, painful situation. That's what young people are hungry for. Please show me how to walk a faithful life all the way to the end so that I have some idea of the pathway. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking for. When I attend a church, I'm looking for the women, and I gravitate towards them, the older women who've walked, and I'm looking, are you at least as mature as I am in trusting Jesus? Because if you're not, I'm going to keep looking. Yeah. I'm looking for older women who've walked this path, who can help me transition now from motherhood into the matriarch stage of sharing my wisdom with others, because that's coming up here in the next 10 years. And if they're still in a stage of, well, the best years when I was a mother, I'm like, well, you're not going to be able to mentor me.
Because they have not learned to
Be the
enjoy
next.
the being of who they are at that time.
That's right. That Jesus is a friend for this next season, too.
That's right.
I do have a wonderful mentor. And she knows who she is. If you're listening, a big thank you to you.
Thank you, Jonalyn, for sharing so much. This is enriching, and this is stuff that you carry with you every single day. Am I participating in all the wonderful things that God is, what He's given to me, and who I am? Am I participating in it?
That's right.
If you've enjoyed this, please subscribe and give us a positive review. And to engage us as artists, go to jonalynfincher.com, and don't forget to sign up on her mailing list. You should go do that right now. And you can see much of her artwork on there and hear her thoughts and reflections. And to hear stories from the Bible and stories of Jesus, you can get a very inexpensive monthly subscription to that at livingroombible.com.
Yep,
And
that's right.
you are going to regret that you didn't do that sooner, so go do that today.
That is true. People will regret not doing it sooner.
As soon as they find it and start listening, they're like, oh man,
Yes.
this would have helped me 5 years, 4 years, 3 years,
So
2
do
years
it
ago,
now.
yesterday.
Do it today.
And we'll see you next time on the back porch.